What's happening, gang? Paul from Project Prepper. Today is a how-to video on making a square weaved paracord lanyard, or other name for it is a box weave. As you can see, I have one on my trusty Swiss Army knife, so they're great on knives, flashlights, bags, whatever you like to put it on. So let's get into it. Alright gang, so you decided to stick around for the how-to video. Let me show you some things that you'll need to get this done. Some scissors, a lighter to singe the ends, either a pencil or a pen, and I'll explain why in a few minutes, and most importantly, 2 equal lengths of paracord. The 2 pieces of paracord are about 2 feet in length, so the finished product will be about 2.5 to 3 inches in total, depending on multiple factors here, such as just a rough general rule of thumb. So now what I'm doing is I'm squeezing and pinching the centers of these 2 pieces of paracord so I can find the middle of each one, and then layering one over the top, creating a cross or a plus sort of formation to then start off your initial sequence of your box weave. Alternatively, you can also mark the middle of these pieces of paracord, whatever floats your boat really. Now that you've done this step, you're going to grab the paracord that's sitting below on the bottom, and then you're going to grab the working end and put it parallel next to the other side, and then vice versa. Do the same thing to then create 2 loops as seen before you. So now what you're going to do is you're going to grab the working end of the top paracord and go weave over the first loop that you encounter, but under the second, like so. Effectively, you're going to do the same with the opposite working end of the same paracord length, over the top of the first loop and then underneath to the second loop. And now you've created the initial stage of your first box weave. Keep in mind, you don't want to have it too tight. You want it just firm but not too tight, because I'm going to show you what you're going to need to do next with the pencil or the pen. Okay, now what you can do with the pencil is grab the underside of this initial box weave and then feed it through, which is basically your underside or your bottom paracord that you started with. So you're going to feed it in through the green paracord. So I'll have a better visual of this image coming up shortly, so you'll have a better idea on how it looks. So that will then create your loop, so you can attach it to anything you like to attach it to basically. And also it gives you, by having the pencil or the pen there, it actually, I feel as though it gives you good control on creating the box weave. So now I'm just going to show you the process again. So I'm just going to leave it with you for a bit, as you can just have a look of the progress. So I'll be cutting in and out at different parts of making this box weave lanyard. So feel free, if you're confident enough, to maybe fast forward to the next section. Alright folks, as you can see here with the progress of the box weave, I have a bit of length now, so I decided to pull the pencil out because I can grab this now for control, so better leverage as I'm continuing on creating this box weave lanyard. As you can see here now, I'm towards the end of completing this box weave. So right now I'm just making sure everything's nice and tight, so there's nothing loose in the weave when I go to cut the ends and seal it up. So now it's time to cut the ends. What I like to do is leave a tiny little bit of length away from the weave. So once I've cut it, I'm not going to burn into the weave by having it too closely cut to the weave, if you know what I mean. So now I'm just going to burn the end and then press it down with the lighter so they'll flatten that end and basically hold and lock that weave into place. And then you do the same process for the next 3 pieces of length. It's a good idea too, as you're going around cutting these ends off, is to make sure you pull on them and make sure they're still pretty taut or tight. That's something I like to do anyway. Alrighty gang, as you see before you is the finished product of the box weave lanyard. Just a little tip that I like to do is I purchased a bag of split rings. So what I do is with the loop I attach the split ring onto the loop. So then from there you can pretty much attach the lanyard to anything you wish. So I just like having this box weave lanyard just for the fact that it gives you a bit of leverage, so you can just grab onto it if you need to grab your items, like your knife for instance. And it's just good to have a little bit of extra paracord on hand if need be. Granted, it's not a lot of paracord, but when you think about it, if you go to split and get the 7 strands out, it can be useful. Alright guys, if you haven't subscribed, help support us by subscribing. Like, share, comment. Thanks for watching.